Yeah, so
hello. So you know when you first sign up for MUN, the first thing you get is your delegation. So what does that mean? Your delegation is the country you get and you represent for the entire of the conference. So that's 3 days representing your own country. So let's say you first join and you get you usually get a smaller country, so you can be there and you can more observe what everyone else is saying, rather than have to participate as much. Because if you were a bigger country, so let's say USA or the UK, you would have to put in your ideas constantly, and maybe as a beginner, that's a bit more difficult to do. So when you get your delegation, you want to research all about it, right? So you want to research your foreign policies, what you're going to say, your solutions that your country's coming up with based on the topic. And then during that 3 days of conference, you're going to have to represent your ideas and what your country stands for, and stay true to those for the rest of the 3 days. Yeah.
Alright, so basically from the delegations you got, before starting a whole debate or lobbying, for that matter, you have to have an opening speech. And what this opening speech is, it's basically a short speech introducing what country you're from and introducing the stances your country has on the topic as a whole. Basically, creating this opening speech will take you less than 5 minutes. It's a very easy thing to do, and it should be around 1 minute. And you just have to Google your country stance on each topic, on each issue, and you should be able to find it. And you just would say, basically, this is the issue, and my country stance is for, against, or neutral. And basically, it is optional, but you can put a few solutions to those, like an example, not an elaborate one, but a short and concise solution to the issue as a whole.
So the opening speeches help other delegates who are listening to you gauge which side you're on, and later during lobbying, when you discuss ideas, you guys can get together with the people who have similar ideas to you, or that are for or against that topic, so you can come up with a resolution that is coherent and makes sense to, and achieves whatever policies your country has decided on. Yeah. Opening speeches. This website gives you some things that you might want to include or to make it.
Alyssa, you just had one question.
Yeah.
Wouldn't America be that alone in a human rights council regarding refugees?
Yeah, that's depending on the topic. I mean, I can't answer that because it's all depending on what the issue is and what country you are. I mean,
Australia, you might be with them.
Okay.
Yeah, a few other countries, New Zealand. Oh no, that's pretty good. But yeah, often you could be the minority or the only person in a council that has really different views, which sometimes is that a bit of fun sometimes.
Yeah.
Josh, to be the only one.
Would it be then? Would only one person be a minimum?
So like in IGBIS, in ECOSOC, we had a girl who was representing America, and we were discussing trade. And so obviously with trade and Trump's new policies and free trade, that's a big problem, right? But you have to find ways that you can engage yourself with other people, maybe come up with new ideas and resolutions that satisfy both nations' policies to a minimum. So she joined one of our groups, and we found a way to include her and her policies as well. So some of the things they suggest when writing an opening speech. The hook is more English. Okay, so there are 3 main things they suggest. So the hook, the point, and the call to action. So generally the hook is more your English language, I guess, and that's just persuading others and beginning your opening speech so you engage other delegates as well. So they suggested some things like you can ask a question, so a rhetorical question. You can have a quote from one of the politicians from your country, so on. You can have statistics, and you can have a few throughout your opening speech, but because it's only 1 minute, you don't need too many. concise and like around 1 minute regarding your ideas and your stance. Then is your point, and this is what Ejhaz was saying with your country stance and representing your country and whether you're for or against for the topic. And 2 or 3 reasons why your country had adopted as policy, and try and make it as direct as possible. Then your call to action, or what you're going to do, possible solutions, and a closing statement. So usually it will be, this delegate would wish for a fruitful and debate. So you're just giving the floor back to everyone else. Yeah. So then this is an example. Of an opening speech. So you can address the rest of your members of the council and using those ways. So it's more formal, the speech. And as you can see in the beginning, they refer to themselves as the delegation or this delegate. So you never refer to yourself in pronouns. Yeah. And let's just say their stance on the issue and some statistics or evidence. Then it draws their conclusion, and here you can see this delegate hopes for a fruitful and constructive debate in order to solve this issue at hand today.
Understood? Any more questions? No?
Okay guys, because I know these guys are taking the lead right now, but just referring back to your question, you were asking about what if countries are lonely, and what if you're in a country that has a ridiculously, completely different stance on an issue than all the other countries in the committee. So, like Alyssa said, there was someone who was representing the U.S. on foreign trade policy and free trade, and she was walking around everywhere trying to get someone to listen to her and things like that, because she's doing the U.S.'s stance. It's really hard for her. But I was the United States in the UNODC committee at the Nexus month, so I'm just gonna bring up my opening speech for that, and then I'll show you it, because I just want to I want to emphasize that MUN doesn't have to be super serious, and you can always make something like that kind of isolation really fun, and it helps with your collaboration skills, and it also gives you a presence in that committee. So I'll just pull that up while these guys answer some more questions.
Yes?
What if a country has like 2 different views on a certain topic?
Could you give an example? So are you saying on one topic or like
One topic, let's say a major topic in a random country. Let's say it's a possible around half of them believes that this should happen, and another half believes that it shouldn't happen. So what do we do? Do we just
Would it be whoever's the government,
Yeah,
the leader in
will
charge
decide
at the
what
time?
the stance on the topic is.
So yeah, when you're doing your research, you can look at government websites if they're not corrupt or biased completely. A lot of countries have their own official websites as well. I guess you could also look at perspectives from the people in the country, and you can give those views, but ultimately it's what the government decides that goes for.
If we've got 2 issues, and my country is focused more on one issue than the other, what do I do during my opening speech?
And you can choose to focus on that topic, as it's only a 1-minute speech. A lot of people in our committee in IGBIS usually went for one topic and heavily emphasized that one. You can give mention as to what your stance is on the other topic as well, but if you are solely going for that issue, you can write more on that, and in your resolution you can find other people who have similar ideas or emphasizing that point more, and get together and write your resolution based on that topic.
Another question? If I have a neutral stance, how do I make my speech 1 minute long?
Oh, you're just gonna say. What's the difference between saying I'm for and I'm neutral? It takes about the same amount of time to say the same thing.
Aren't opening speeches meant to be 1 minute? What do I do to prolong my speech if I have nothing much to say?
It doesn't have to be 1 minute. The maximum amount of time you're supposed to take is a minute, but you can take much less time than that if you want to.
But isn't it true that chairs persuade delegates to speak for at least 30 seconds?
Yo! Are you trying to debate with me right now?
Just some ideas. Can you think of any ideas of how to make your neutral speech
Yeah,
spread
so-
out a bit more? Can you go off topic a little bit and talk more about your
okay.
story? Or?
Trying to elaborate on your point, you could add, like Alyssa said, solutions. Examples of solutions to the issues as a whole, and you could add solutions to each of the issues, which will prolong your speech about 1 minute long.
Thank you.
Aren't solutions meant for debate though? So why would you put them in your
I mean,
speech?
You're not going to elaborate on the solutions. You can just drop a hint of an example. Let's say this said issue, you're going to explain the issue, your stance, and then you're going to go, for example, a solution to this thing, to this issue would be and then you would go, okay, that's it. You're not going to elaborate on it, it's a speech.
Are we practicing writing opening speeches soon? Is that what
Yeah.
I hope that Ejhaz gets a neutral one and we can see you do a 1 minute neutral speech.
I have another question.
Yes, John.
What if I have like a really good opening speech, but it's kind of long? How will I know until like time's up or like when I can't speak?
So basically, I think at 30 seconds, the chair will bang the gavel once, and then when there's 10 seconds left, I think it's twice, and then 5 seconds, 3 times. Right? 3 times, right?
No.
5 seconds.
10 seconds twice, and then when it's 1 minute, you just keep on.
So they just have us, we have to stop on that minute. Okay, what Gareth just did.
Just speak on
Ooh. Learning so much.
Okay, so I have my opening speech as the United States in a drug committee. So when I was doing this opening speech, I even like went into character
So
as
what's
like,
your time?
because like I wanted to be a presence in the room because I am one of the, even though you're the United States and you're pretty isolated in terms of policy, you still are one of the most powerful countries in the world. So make that presence felt in the committee. Okay, opening speech. Honorable chairs, distinguished delegates, it brings the delegation of the United States of America great pleasure to be in attendance at this conference. The United States is currently fighting major drug problems, specifically the transportation and manufacturing of gateway narcotics such as cocaine and heroin. It is known that the UNODC, United States headquarters, is located in New York. And New York's very own President-elect Trump is working extremely hard in his efforts to prevent drug transportation via the US-Mexican border, and will continue his work through his presidency. However, the United States doesn't take note of the growing popularity of legal marijuana use throughout the country. On the issue at hand, extrajudicial anti-drug measures, the United States would like to point out that it is neutral on this issue at hand, due to the peaceful manner in which the country's population presents when displaying and opinions against drug use. The delegate of the United States has faith that this conference will be very fruitful and will be very productive, and calls upon all other nations to provide practical.
Thank you, delegate.
Are they really that mean, Josh? Do they really just bang you off?
Yeah.
They could, yeah. PX did that in EcoSoc. She wasn't having it. Like anyone who was playing with her, she was like, no.
Cool.
Well, it depends on the chair's discretion.
Well, 1 minute is really short.
Yeah, it's pretty short,
So how do we compress everything into 1 minute, Ejhaz?
I just told you. You just go. I'm for this issue. I'm against, or I'm neutral.
Can we speak as like really fast like Eminem?
No, you gotta let yourself. You have to pronounce it.
You want to be heard so that people know what your stances are, so you could, so they can find you easily when you're lobbying and
So
stuff.
how do you summarize it?
He's Ejhaz, I'm going to take this one for you. You just say whether you're for or against it. Between 30 seconds, so when you write it, it'll be a really short speech, yeah? Like, look, those are only maybe 8 sentences, let's say. So it's quick, and you've got to do that nice strong voice that I've learned in IMS.
Oh, that's perfect.
Loud, projected, and to the point, yeah? None of this waffling on about blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
Straight to the point.
The opening speech is just flow. You have it really quickly so you can have more time for debate.
So people can judge you what you want.
Yeah, it actually sets the tone for how you want to act in the whole committee.
Yeah. Because as soon as if you give a really good opening speech, even though it's quick and concise, people will know you're there to MUN. So like, yeah,
Yeah.
you're there to MUN.
Any comments?